Once upon a time, in a small and quiet town where everyone seemed to know each other, there lived a girl named Amarachi. But Amarachi was not like the others, not even close. A long, dark scar stretched across her face, running from her forehead down to her cheek, like a mark the world had carved into her. She covered it with an eye patch, not because she wanted to hide, but because of the way people stared when they saw it. She had gotten the scar when she was very young, in an accident no one ever spoke about openly. People only whispered about it when she wasn't around. Her father, a strong man with oil-stained hands from years of working as a mechanic, always told her something she tried hard to believe. Amarachi, beauty is not in the face, beauty is in the heart. He worked tirelessly every day, fixing broken cars that others had given up on, just so his daughter could go to school and have a better future. But school was not a place where people believed in beauty of the heart. There, all they saw was her scar. At school, the children laughed at her without shame. They pointed at her face as if she was something strange, something broken. They whispered loudly enough for her to hear. "Look at her face." One girl giggled. "She looks like a broken pot," another added, and the laughter followed. But the worst of them all was William. William wasn't just another bully. He was the golden boy of the school. Rich, popular, and always surrounded by people who followed him like shadows. His father owned the biggest supermarket in town, and William had everything: perfect clothes, expensive shoes, confidence that filled every room he walked into. He spoke loudly, laughed loudly, and when it came to Amarachi, he was always the cruelest. Every single day, he found a new way to humiliate her. One morning, as he leaned casually against the classroom door, he sneered, "Why do you even come to school, Amarachi? You look like a monster." His friends burst into laughter. "Did your father try to fix your face the way he fixes old cars?" he added, and the laughter grew even louder. Amarachi didn't laugh. She didn't respond. She simply walked past them, pretending not to hear, pretending not to care. But deep inside, she felt it, a heavy weight in her chest, like a stone pressing harder against her heart with every insult. Her scar seemed to burn under their cruel stares, and even though she kept walking, something inside her was slowly breaking. One day during lunch, the sun hung high in the sky, and the air was filled with the smell of jollof rice and beans. The cafeteria was alive with chatter, trays clinking, and students laughing in groups. Amarachi walked in quietly, holding her tray tightly as her stomach growled. She had saved her lunch money all week just for this moment, just to buy something special, fried rice and chicken. For once, she wanted to feel normal, like everyone else. But she didn't notice the quiet snickering around her. She didn't see the way William and his friends watched her carefully, exchanging looks, waiting. She didn't know what they had already done. Amarachi reached her usual seat and gently placed her tray on the table. Without thinking, she sat down, and in the very next second, everything changed. Cold water spread instantly beneath her, soaking through her skirt and clinging to her skin. For a brief moment, the entire cafeteria went silent. Then suddenly, William's voice rang out loudly, cutting through the air like a drumbeat. "Oh no!" Amarachi peed herself. The silence shattered into loud, cruel laughter. "Look at her skirt," someone shouted. "She's like a baby," another yelled. Maybe she saw her own face and got scared. Even those who didn't want to laugh covered their mouths, trying and failing to hide their smiles. Amarachi's fingers tightened against the edge of the table. Her ears burned. Her heart pounded so loudly it felt like it might burst out of her chest. The laughter crashed over her like a storm. She wanted to run. She wanted to disappear. But she didn't. Slowly, she stood up. The laughter began to quiet, not because anyone felt sorry, but because they were watching her now, waiting to see what she would do. The room felt heavy, like the air itself was holding its breath. Amarachi turned toward William and locked eyes with him. For the first time, she didn't look away. Her voice, when she spoke, was calm, shockingly calm. "I may be wet," she said, pausing just long enough for everyone to hear, "but at least I'm not drowning in arrogance like you." The cafeteria froze. The laughter died instantly. Some students whispered to each other, surprised. A few even nodded slightly, as if something inside them agreed with her. William's grin faded, replaced by something darker. His face twisted in anger, real anger, the kind that doesn't forget easily. Amarachi picked up her tray, turned around, and walked out of the cafeteria. Her back was straight, her step steady. She didn't let anyone see the pain inside her. But inside, she was breaking. And William, he didn't like that. Not at all. The moment she talked back, something changed. He didn't just want to laugh at her anymore. No, now he wanted to destroy her completely. At first, nothing made sense. The doctors had tried everything. Medicines, injections, special treatments. Yet William only grew weaker. His once loud voice was gone, his strong body reduced to something fragile and helpless. Desperate, his parents took him to the biggest church in the city. The pastor placed his hands firmly on William's forehead and shouted, "Be healed in the name of Jesus." His voice echoed through the hall, powerful and commanding. He prayed again, louder this time, pouring anointing oil over William's head, calling for divine intervention. But nothing happened. William lay still, his face twisted in silent pain. The pastor slowly stepped back, his expression changing. "This is beyond me," he admitted quietly. But William's parents refused to give up. They went to a famous Islamic cleric, a man known for spiritual healing. He recited holy verses over William's body, tied charms around his wrist, and instructed the family to give charity. "Help the poor," he said. "Feed the hungry. It will bring healing." They obeyed, without hesitation. They gave away money, food, clothes, helping widows, feeding children, but still, William remained the same. Weak, silent, broken. Days passed, and his condition only worsened. Then someone spoke of a powerful herbalist deep in a distant village. With no other option, they carried William there, his body burning with fever. The herbalist, an old man with gray hair and piercing dark eyes, prepared bitter herbs and strange black potions. Under the cold light of the moon, he bathed William, whispering ancient words. But even that failed. The old man sighed heavily. "This is beyond me," he said. One by one, every solution had failed. Doctors, pastors, clerics, herbs, all had taken their money, but none had saved their son. Hopeless and exhausted, William's parents returned home. His mother cried endlessly, while his father sat in silence, staring into nothingness, as if the world had suddenly lost all meaning. Then one evening, something strange happened. William's mother went to the market. The sun hung low in the sky, and the air felt heavy, like something unseen was waiting. She had not slept in days. Her eyes were red, her body weak, but her heart refused to rest. Maybe, just maybe, she would find something there. The market was loud and busy as always, vendors shouting, children running, goats wandering freely, but she ignored it all. She stopped at a stall selling dried roots and bitter leaves, paid quickly, and turned to leave. That's when she saw her. An old woman, thin and wrinkled, dressed in torn clothes, sitting quietly on the ground. Her hands stretched out, her voice barely audible. "Please, just a little food." Something about her felt different. Something unsettling. William's mother reached into her purse and gave her some money. But the moment the old woman touched her hand, everything changed. Her grip was tight, too tight, and cold in a way that didn't feel human. William's mother gasped. "What are you doing?" The old woman looked straight into her eyes, deep, knowing, almost terrifying. Then she whispered slowly, "Your son's illness is not natural." A chill ran down her spine. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice shaking. The old woman did not let go. "He has offended a very powerful girl," she said. "Unless she forgives him, he will never be well." William's mother froze. Her heart felt like it had stopped. "Who?" she whispered. "Who did he offend?" But the old woman simply released her hand and said, "That is for you to find out." And just like that, she was gone, vanished into the crowd as if she had never been there. Shaken and terrified, William's mother rushed home and told her husband everything. They sat in silence, the truth slowly sinking in. Their son had bullied many children. Too many to count. But which one had caused this? Which one carried such pain that it had followed him home like a curse? Desperate for answers, William's father went to the school and stormed into the principal's office. "Please," he begged, his voice breaking. "My son is dying. We were told he offended someone. Do you know who it could be?" The principal sighed deeply, removing his glasses. "William has bullied many students," he said slowly. "But there is one he has tormented more than anyone else." William's father leaned forward anxiously. "Who?" The principal's face grew serious. "Amarachi, the girl with the scar." The name hit them like a storm. They didn't waste a second. The road to Amarachi's house was rough, but they barely noticed. Their hearts were pounding too loudly. Fear had settled deep inside them. When they arrived, Amarachi's father was in his workshop, fixing a car as usual. He looked up in surprise as they approached. Before he could speak, William's mother dropped to her knees. "Please," she cried, her voice trembling. "Our son is dying. We were told he must be forgiven. They said it is your daughter." Amarachi's father stood still, wiping his hands slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes carried something deeper: pain, understanding. He turned to Amarachi, who stood quietly in the doorway. "My child," he said gently, "will you forgive him?" Amarachi's heart was heavy. This was the boy who had called her a monster, the boy who had laughed when she fell, the boy who had pushed her into the mud. And now he was helpless. She took a deep breath. "I didn't do anything to him," she said softly. "I don't understand." Her father stepped closer, placing his hands on her shoulders. "No one deserves to suffer like this," he said gently. "Not even your enemy." Amarachi looked at him, the man who had always chosen kindness, even when life was cruel. Then she looked at William's parents, kneeling before her, broken and desperate. She exhaled slowly. "I will forgive him," she said, "but on one condition." William's father grabbed her hands immediately. "Anything," he said. Amarachi's voice was steady. He must leave the school, and he must never bully anyone again. They agreed, without hesitation. "We promise," they said. "We will also pay for your education until you finish university." Amarachi hesitated, then nodded. She closed her eyes and whispered softly, "I forgive you, William." That very night, something changed. William lay weak in his bed as his parents watched over him. The house was silent, the air heavy with tension. Then, just as the first light of dawn touched the sky, William opened his eyes. His mother gasped. "William!" His father rushed forward. "Say something." William swallowed slowly, his dry lips trembling. "Mama," he whispered. Tears burst from his mother's eyes. He was healing. By the second day, he could sit. By the third, he could walk. By the fourth, it was as if nothing had ever happened. But something had changed inside him.
Something permanent.
William never returned to that school. His parents made sure of it. And he never bullied anyone again. As for Amarachi, everything changed. The whispers stopped. The laughter disappeared. People no longer saw her as the girl with the scar, but as something else. Something powerful. Something untouchable. The same girl they once mocked was now the one they respected, and perhaps feared. And from that day on, no one ever dared to look down on Amarachi again.